News contributor David Webb, along with the host of the Rubin Report, Dave Rubin. No mention of Iran, of course, because Biden and company, Dave Rubin, has been funding Iran and funding Hamas and Hezbollah.
Well, of course they've been funding this. We unfroze the $6 billion. The Iranian president just a few weeks ago, I'm sure you guys played the clip, we played it on my show, said, hey, we could do whatever we want with the money. I know they said it was for humanitarian purposes, but once we have the money, we could do whatever we want. Let's just be clear about what's going on here. This is a full-on assault to destroy the state of Israel and eliminate the 8 million Jewish people, and by the way, there's about 2 million Christian Arabs and non-Jews that live there. This is a war to take them all out. This is a continuation of the Holocaust, plain and simple. Israel has to do whatever it has to do. The whole purpose of a nation state is to protect your people. The things that we have seen out of this are so barbaric, so medieval, so profoundly evil, that there is nothing that they should not have in their arsenal to protect their people right now. And I fear we're just at the beginning of this thing. But if you cannot figure out who is the good guy and who is the bad guy in this situation, you really need to recalibrate your moral lens.
Well said, Dave Rubin. You know, David Webb, usually in these conflicts, there's a play for global opinion, right? They're seeking a positive opinion from those around the world. And when Hamas is beheading infants, we see infants in cages, they're raping women, killing the elderly. They're playing a different game here, David Webb. Something else is going on, because no one who sees these pictures, per Dave Rubin's point, would look at this and say this is anywhere acceptable in humanity.
No, it's not acceptable, but it's also not new. And I think that's where we miss the point that the globe has not paid close enough attention. You can go back over the last decade plus and look at attacks in Spain, in Thailand, in Bali, all around the world. And what they do in nations like Afghanistan, which have now been turned back over to this, what ISIS did, the actions are not new. The atrocity is more focused right now, especially in Israel, where there's access to a great deal of outside media. It's a Western nation in that sense, and it's access to the world. But what we're seeing is a continuation of a warfare that has an ideology and an outcome. So the rape, the murder, the beheadings, and sadly, even the value of the hostages that they have in death, in showing their death, is what they go for. They don't care what the world thinks, because radical Muslims have a defined outcome, which is their worldview. Now, what we see here is something the president has failed miserably or has chosen to ignore, and in both cases dangerous, because Iran, they're the backers of Hezbollah. They're their proxy army, trained by the IRGC. There's coordination. And to execute this level of multiple point incursion, they had to have a lot of build, access to weaponry. They have more precision-guided weaponry. And that requires external support outside of the Gaza Strip, which is all of 7 by 25 miles, and what exists in Lebanon. Right. And for this administration to not address that, when they know better, when we all know better, is completely wrong.
That's shameful.
Right. Well, because they would have to say that we've been light on sanctions, and Iran just this year has made $40 billion selling oil to the likes of China, and they were going to stop it. So they'd have to admit, again, that Biden and company have been funding Iran and funding terrorism and funding Hamas that just murdered innocent Jewish babies and the elderly. David Webb, Dave Rubin, don't go anywhere.